I was going to talk about a different film for this video, but then I got sidetracked and watched another film instead. And I want to talk about that one. It's a short film called Notes from Melanie, written, produced, and directed by a popular YouTuber who many of you probably know, Chris Stuckmann. I'm a fan of his as well. I watch a lot of his videos, and I'm always interested to see the kinds of stuff he talks about and what sort of rating he gives different movies, and so it's a lot of fun to watch his videos. And I got to watching a video of his that talked about the different short films that he was involved in making, that he wrote and produced and directed, and I stumbled upon Notes for Melanie, and I said, let me watch this film. And I watched it, and first of all, I really liked it. I'm a fan of anyone who is passionate about film and making movies, and people who are just getting out there and doing it regardless of quality. I make short films and stuff myself, and regardless of whatever equipment I have or whatever it is, there's something about getting out there and just doing and creating and making the project. So I love stuff like that. There's many short films I've seen from people who are more independent filmmakers, people who are just getting in there and making it. And because I think that's so cool, I'm always interested to see, what they put out. And it's obvious to me, having watched the film, that Stuckmann knows how to tell a story. And regardless of what you think about the dialogue, I've seen a lot of comments about the dialogue being, sort of off or choppy. The acting was weird. It wasn't 100% consistent between the two actors, but I thought it was great. I especially love the scenes, the cutaways to the different movies that the main guys made. So it was pretty cool to see sort of the special effects and stuff, and to see how they did that. That stuff was pretty fun. Like you get the idea is clear. You understand what's going on, and I appreciated how self-contained it was. It was in one room, two people having a conversation, and those are the kinds of things that I actually find that fascinating in feature films. I find that sometimes dialogue between two people can be just as impactful and just as carry just as much energy and fire and life as any action sequence. Some great examples: Casino Royale, the scene on the train between Bond and Vesper. I love that scene. That's one of the, to me, that feels like an action beat. It's very much like they're sizing each other up, and they're having this conversation that is, sort of one-upping each other, but they realize through the conversation that they're evenly matched, and that kind of stuff is great. The Dark Knight Rises does it also with Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne at the ball, whatever, the charity ball, whatever it is. They're dancing and having that conversation. That's an amazing conversation on the dance floor. The Dark Knight, of course, does it between the Joker and Batman in the interrogation room. Those are stuff like that where it's a contained space. And of course, one of the best ones ever is Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. That's like one of the greatest conversations between two people who are evenly matched ever. Granted, Notes for Melanie, it's not as though it starts out as them not being evenly matched. Melanie comes in with all the power. She's what's going on? But then throughout the conversation, there is a shift that happens with the main character, whose name I forget. But and then once they get to the point where they break the story, whatever his new screenplay is that he's writing, his new story, then by the very end, they get to a place where they're even. They're like on, evenly matched. And I especially loved the ending. There's a conversation between the two, then there's a piece that talks about, well, there's a question, how is the writer going to end his story? Either hopeful, or bittersweet, or, sad, or whatever the case may be. And I like how that bit of the conversation mirrors how Stuckmann ended his film. It's not bittersweet and it's not sad. There's a glimmer of hope. The two characters, by the way, they dated at one point years before the events of this story. And there's a glimmer of hope at the end that they might, maybe they might get together. You thought, oh, are they gonna kiss? I was hoping they didn't kiss. Don't do it. Don't kiss. Don't do it. And I'm so glad that they didn't go. It's not there. Like that's not where it was. It ends right at the right moment. And so it's a good sort of self-contained situation that gives us a bit of a breath. You know, you have a hint of what their relationship was like as two creators, two people who are artsy, and what their dynamic was like. And that's enough for us to get a window in on who they are as people separately. And when they come together in this room having this conversation, there's a glimmer of like, oh, I see why they might have worked, and why they might possibly work again. Let's talk about the music. The music I thought was pretty good. Actually, the score was pretty good. I forget the guy he mentioned in the video that I watched, who composed the score for I think this film and another one of his short films. I think Auditorium 6, which I'm looking forward to trying to find out how to watch. The trailer for that one looked cool. But the score for Notes from Melanie was decent. I thought it was good, and it did much to reflect what the characters were feeling. And it's not intrusive. It's not a score that takes you out of the moment, and which I really appreciated. I thought that was really cool. So that was good. The acting, I think Mason Hyder, I think the guy's name, and Caitlin Newberry were the two main leads. And I thought, for the most part, the acting was sound. If I'm comparing it to, I think Caitlin Newberry ran circles around Mason, though, if I'm being honest. There were parts where Mason's performance, his performance was consistent, but there were parts where, mostly, and there were some parts where I felt like he was too over the top, more so than whatever Caitlin was doing. Mason felt more over the top, if we're looking at that. But overall, but I think that worked for the character he was. He seemed like he had a bit of some neurosis, and he was one of those sort of not necessarily boilerplate standard writers that we see that have like, that have all these different ideas, and like, yes and no. He was like that, and in a way he was very much Chris's version of that. So it didn't feel totally cliche how he was, but there were elements that felt sort of almost Woody Allen like. But he was good too. And then the two actors, I think, who were in the cutaways to the movies that Mason's character had produced, were pretty good too. Those were funny cutaways. So I liked that. Speaking of that, let's talk about that piece about it. The movies that the guy produced. First of all, the movies that the guy produced, like as far as the story is concerned, I liked very much that this guy, regardless of the quality of movies he produces, yeah, they're probably not good movies, but he's been actively making those movies, which again goes back to what I was talking about, like how much I'm a fan of people who just make stuff, even if it's not good, quote, it's not what, objectively good or whatever it is. That doesn't matter. You're still making the stuff. And anyone who's made a film, even a short film or any sort of project like that, understands that it's not always the easiest thing to do. So, even if it's fun, there are some times when it becomes work, and you're having to try to balance your feeling of making this project, creating this project, doing this thing that makes you happy, and having it not feel like a weight that you're just sort of trudging through with, like, I gotta get through this. It's a lot, like most of the arts, I think, but I think the closest thing to that I can relate to with that is writing. I'm a writer myself. I have a book coming out. I'm writing another book, and it's that same feeling of like, when you're making the thing, there are moments when it feels fun and it's exhilarating, and you're in the throes of the project of creation. And then there are times when you go back to it, and it feels like you're just trudging through the same sort of slow parts, and you want to just get through the thing, and it's like this. And I felt that way when I've made films too. I've made short films, and it feels the exact same way, where it's like, it's fun, and I enjoy the medium and I enjoy watching other people's films and stuff. But when you're making it, it's yay, and then invariably there's a piece of you that's like, oh, gosh, I just want to get this part done. So that said, anyone who goes through that process, whether the end result is good or bad, I'm a fan of. So Mason Heigel's character, we meet him at a point in time in his career where he's done a lot of that. Yeah, he's made a whole bunch of terrible movies, but he's made movies, which is a lot more than some people. Even in the universe of that film, my headcanon says there are people who trash his movies. Oh, his movies suck. He keeps making these movies. He keeps getting paid. Blah, blah, blah. Those people didn't make the movies, so most of them were critics or whatever it was, which is whatever. No disrespect, no judgments on them, but I recognize what it takes to create something like that, and so I think that I liked the guy already just because, just for that reason alone. I don't care if his movies were whack. So, yeah. So the acting was good, music was good. What else can I talk about? I think that's it. And going back to just Chris Stuckmann and his his just willingness to put stuff out to make the project, and I appreciate that. I look forward to seeing more of what he ends up directing, and I want to see the short films that are out, whatever that he's done, and whatever his future projects are. I think anyway, if you don't know about Chris Stuckmann, check him out. His videos are really good and funny. There's some humor. So anyway, I think that's all for this one. So thanks for watching. If you hung in here to the rest of the video, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I recognize there are a ton of things and activities that are competing for the time. And so if you've spent a little bit of that time here with this video, I appreciate it. So thank you. And I guess I'm going to be back with another video. I'll get back to the other video that I was going to do before this one. I just was excited to talk about this one because I had watched it last night and I was like, oh, this is my next video. I have to do it. So anyway, there it is. Oh, I didn't rate it. So I think I'm going to give it, out of 10, I would rate this short film. I'll give it an 8. Give it an 8. And that's just because I'm rating from what I saw, I'm rating my experience of the film and how what I saw on screen made me feel that. So, and really it comes down to the two actors, the two leads, I think, were pretty good. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.